I was introduced, my name is Amy Kaherl, and I am the proud founder of Detroit Soup, which is a microgranting dinner that funds projects that are looking to make a city or community better. I wish I could tell you that I started this project with all these amazing intentions to change the world and to make Detroit better. None of those things are true. I come from a city that the language of our town looked a lot like this building. It was vacant, it was empty, no one was there. It does have its problems of poverty, lack of access to the internet, lack of access to jobs, lack of no functional public transportation system. And so there are real problems that are often really stemmed from our problems of segregation. And so Soup is a micro-granting dinner where you hear from 4 presenters who have 4 minutes to share their idea, 4 questions back from the diners, and then the diners get a chance to eat, share, connect, and vote on what project they think should win the $5 suggested door donation. So we started this dinner in 2010 with an amazing group of women who had worked on a women's event in Detroit celebrating arts and culture. And so our friend Kate, this beautiful woman in the middle, said, hey, I experienced this dinner out in Chicago. Our friend Jessica, just to the left of her, said, well, I have a vacant space above this bakery that my parents own. Let's just shove all the stuff into the corner and let's create this dinner. And so we took empty milk crates, we took old doors, we took old wine bottles that we put water into, and we invited our friends on a snowy Super Bowl Sunday to come and hear from ideas that did not show up that day, and to hear from ways that we can make artists' lives better. And what happened is that Detroiters came back and said, well, can I pitch any idea? And it's moved and it's transformed into a movement where now on any given Sunday, there's 200 to 300 people in the room who are gathering together, connecting and sharing about ways that we can communally make Detroit better, not from the top down, but from the bottom up. So what is Soup? Other than just a food? Well, it's a public dinner. It's a chance to say all are welcome. If you live in the suburbs, if you live in the city, if you're just traveling, coming through, you are welcome to participate. You don't have to be a resident, but we want to hear and hear about ideas that are making this better. It's an ethos of community and civic engagement. We need to start with us. A lot of times I always think like there's all these other people or other things that will make me better, but really I have to start with myself and I need to know who my neighbors are. So Soup starts with a way of understanding who my neighbor is, who lives around the corner, and the way that we can civically act and communicate and talk with one another, because it really is a safe space. It's not very often I get to sit in a room with people that look so different than me, that have completely different values than me. I actually have my master's degree in theology with an emphasis in pop culture. Oftentimes people ask me, what is that? And really it's about, if the church didn't exist, do we still want to connect? And do we still need to know who each other are? And how do we support the doers of our community? And that to me was the answer with what Soup is. It's a practice in democracy. I come to you as an American who's not very proud of my president at this moment, who, thank you, something to, yes. It's disgraceful, his ability to hate. And for me, democracy is something that is not something you inherently know, but it's something you have to practice. So democracy for me is hearing, and it's listening, and it's sharing. It's walking into a voting booth, making a decision, and being confident in it. This democratic process means after we hear from these 4 presenters, we get to talk with strangers who now have had a shared experience and ask each other, well, what idea are you going to vote for? And be challenged by people's experiences, people's values, people's beliefs of why this is the right project. Soup's also an entry point into the local entrepreneurship ecosystem. Oftentimes, we have a million reasons why we shouldn't do something, why I'm not ready, why I'm not the right person. And really, Oftentimes, soup is this entry point because soup says yes and not no. Soup allows any idea at any place of ideation to have 4 minutes to share with you and to share their thoughts, how they're thinking about it, and honestly hoping for feedback. And because of what we've learned with doing soup, we've actually helped put ideas into an entrepreneurial ecosystem, getting the support and help that they need to continue to grow the thing that they're trying to do. Another big thing that I really believe in is that soup reveals gaps and strengths of a community. Here are what people are capable of doing, how they're willing to spend their time. A lot of these people have a full-time job, that this is just something they're trying to do as a side hustle, as a way that you're trying to solve for problem X, trying to bring together people in their community or just solve something. And so for me, as I've been doing it every year, I like to take a step back and go, whoa, there's a lot of people pitching about wanting to start a charity. Oh, you know why? There's no education in the ecosystem around how to do it. And so all these people are just trying to do it on their own rather than doing it together as a way of collaborative response. And I love that this is a relational hub bringing together various communities. So this is not just about art. I always joke that if this was about urban agriculture, I certainly would not be standing here. I don't know if you can see it, but I have a hot dog tattooed on my leg. I know nothing about it. I'm not spending my free time in the garden. But a lot of people have, and a lot of people do. And I've learned more about urban farming and gardening because of this program. Because we don't say only art ideas pitched this month. It's art and entrepreneurs and social ideas, park cleanups, education initiatives. I love that this practice is built in art and philosophy, which means there's a lot more unknowns than there is knowns, which, as someone who's trying to really build a nonprofit, really frustrates people who love boxes. And so it doesn't fit in just one box, it fits in many boxes. And that the outcomes that happen at the dinner happen not just in that moment, but it ripples out that affects things over time. And my favorite thing about soup is that it empowers women. Women, we do a really bad job of permitting ourselves to go out and do something. And we're always looking for permission, myself included. I am not just because I'm on this stage doesn't mean that I haven't gone through it. But we ask for permission from each other, from ourselves. And so this dinner gives women this empowerment that their voice matters, that they matter, that their idea matters, and that they are the right people right here, right now, to make this idea happen in their community. And they've now heard from 150, 200 people that, yes, we believe in you. And 85% of our winners at Soup are women. So what makes Soup unique? One is that the presenting idea has to benefit the city or the community that it's in. So in Detroit, we didn't say anyone in the area could pitch. It was just those that are in the city and not the suburbs. And that you don't use technology to present. So for us, we didn't have a projector when we first started, but really what it does is it shows race, it shows class, it shows gender, it shows how tech savvy you are. Also, I don't know how many of you guys have tried to accept other people's technologies, but I don't really want to take someone's Windows 97 PowerPoint and try to implement it into Mac 2015. And that it's about place. Place is so important to this. I get a lot of people saying, well, where did you start a Soup? Detroit. 175 to 180 cities around the world said, I want to do this model. And so it takes on a form that takes on a local personality. So Soup's impact. That's me at the White House. That was a good day. Like I shared. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. One of the best days of my life to be acknowledged as someone who was a champion for change, and that's absolutely what I am. But really, that 175 people around the world heard about this story, said, I want to do this, and does the really hard work of organizing a very simple dinner that's very complex to make happen in a community. You don't need to ask permission for it. You just download a guide off of our internet. And like I said, it's all over the world in every continent except Antarctica, and it takes on a personality so close to home. At home, the things that I can share is that there's two couples who have met and gotten married. That's one of them right behind me. People have gotten jobs after meeting at Soup. People who've just moved into town who are looking for their friend group was able to meet their friends by joining a Soup. People have changed their perspective on the city. They've bought houses. Over hundreds of artists have presented at the dinner, showcasing their work. Over 1,000 ideas have been submitted to Soup, where 450 of them have been able to share. I can go on, and I'm so proud of this work because it's less about me and more about us. So what is the Soup thing, and how has it really impacted? So other than I've shared, well, the biggest story that's ever come out of Detroit Soup was our friend Veronica. She makes a coat that turns into a sleeping bag and hands these coats out to those who are homeless while hiring homeless people to make the coats, transitioning them out of homelessness. This inspired my friend Amy to create a jewelry company called Rebel Nell. As you can see, these are jewelry pieces made out of graffiti that's fallen off of buildings, which is an abundant resource in the city. Figures out the melting process. Well, and they also hire women from these shelters and transitions them out of homelessness by giving them access to education, financial literacy, health and nutrition training. And some of the women with Rebel Nell have even gone on to help them buy a home. It's also inspired my friend David to build a group called Detroit Horsepower. He's attempting to buy an old abandoned golf course, turn it into the first urban horse farm, and doing after school and summer programs to help empower children in Detroit. My friend Michelle saw that there was houses being foreclosed on. That's a huge problem in Detroit. And for $500, you can buy a house in the city. And what happens is if a family is already living in it, that house, these people could be kicked out of their homes. And so she started this thing called the Tricycle Collective. And with all the money that she helps raise, she's able to buy these houses back for the families that live in them. But these ideas translate even now around the world. In Birmingham, they've created, this gentleman has been able to create cardboard beds that homeless folks can sleep on, using abundant materials, often in these city spaces. In Berlin, this beautiful woman takes clothes that have been donated to her and repairs clothes for others. In Perth, they even do urban farming there. So these ideas translate not just because Detroit's so decimated and it's awful, therefore it only can work there. No, these ideas are translated around the world as a way to grow our ideas. And in Sistrunk, Florida, this beautiful woman has taught girls how to create a film from the script to production. And the best thing is I didn't know that this Soup existed until a few months ago, where my friend Chad and I find ourselves in the same program. He's like, I run a Soup. And I was like, excuse me? He said, I run a Soup. And I thought, I don't even understand. I don't understand what's happening and how long and how far this project is gonna go. And so this is where I'm at right now, is the unknown, the future. I'm not quite sure. I'm still scared. I've done this thing that I did not expect to do. All I wanted was a few people in Detroit to have access to one another, to know their neighbor. And now, all over the world, these people are like, I want to do this too. And I've said, oh, okay. So now I'm tasked with this model of trying to provide access to resources and doing a global storytelling platform. So if you guys want to help me do that or start your own, man, I will help you in a heartbeat. You are the most important person in starting this Soup. I always think that in Detroit, we had this perspective that if another large corporation would come in, would be okay. And what we found is that we needed to be okay. We needed to be the global change makers, because we would just change our neighborhood. We would change ourselves. We would change our homes. And I think as I've been able to travel, the more I'm realizing is that we have to pick a place. And when we're there, we need to dive in. We need to dig in, and we need to root ourselves. I don't do this alone. This is my tribe. These are my people. Some of them, it's my family, as these cute little girls at the bottom. Some of them are interns who I coerce them to help me by drinking beer and eating pizza. My best friends are the most important people in the world to me. And now I've met other fellow entrepreneurs, like the bottom corner, who we text all the time. I believe in you. You can do this. And I'm also part of this Red Bull Academy that blew my mind of like, okay, you want to really help me really take my idea and move it to the next level. And I realized that it's not just about me, but it's about us. And these wonderful humans are doing really impossibly hard things in very hard places and are excelling and exceeding. And their success helps push me to do the right thing. So if you want to start a soup, you can go on this fancy internet we've all heard about. And you can go to DetroitSoup.com. There's a little button that says Start a Soup. Click on that. A big orange button will show up and says Download, the why and the how. Download that, read through it, and you can make your community better. Because it's not going to take me to do it. It's going to take you to do it. So I really thank you for your time, and enjoy the rest of this beautiful evening. And I know only one more person stands between you and a cocktail, so enjoy.